Hey, what's up? My name is Skylar Deem. I'm the founder of Reach Fat Loss and Fitness, where our goal is to help get you in the best shape of your life. Do it all without sucky dieting, without counting all your calories, and definitely without torturous cardio. The information on this channel is geared to help you lose weight, build muscle, and most importantly, have the confidence to know that you can keep it off. And so if you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're putting out new videos every single week here to get you in the best shape of your life. Now today we got a very special video. We've got one of my clients, Miss Amy Pattison. Amy is down over 55 pounds since working together, and she has been one of my favorite transformations so far, not only because of the amount of weight that she's lost, but also because of the mental transformation she's made. We'll talk a little bit about this in the video, but when Amy came to me, she was very convinced that she was a lost cause and that she would never be able to lose weight. And so being able to take that and see how she's transformed, see the work that she's put in, and of course see the results that she's gotten is not only extremely inspiring, but you're going to want to take notes for this one because the information she's going to share is going to be super, super helpful on your own fat loss journey. And so before we dive into it today, if you're looking for fat loss help, we've got a free training in the description of this video. In that training, we lay out our exact system, why it's so much more effective than your standard weight loss strategy, and how you can tap into it to see results of your own. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Today, I have an incredible guest. We've got Miss Amy Pattison.
I'm Amy, and I live in Florida, in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. I have been married for 25 years. I have two beautiful children. I actually had a career change too recently in the last 2 to 3 years. So life has always been moving for us and always constantly going. And so I found myself at a point where I needed to focus on my own health. And that's why I'm here today.
A little bit about you getting into your situation, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, you had a very slow and steady build over the past couple of years, right?
Over the last probably 15 years, it's just been a steady 2 to 5 pounds per year, just added on after years of really maintaining my weight. And I was always an overweight kid. And then when I got out on my own, I managed to lose weight by working out and dieting and things like that. And even after I had my children, I lost all the weight. And then I just hit a wall where I just, roughly about 15, 16 years ago, I just began tuning all of that stuff that I knew out and focusing on everything else that needed to be taken care of. And I just think over those 15 years, I just kind of lost myself. And well, I definitely lost myself. However, I would still eat fat free and I would still go to the gym, but I was really checking boxes to say, yes, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, I was making excuses for myself that, yes, I went to the gym, so I can eat this now. And I just let life kind of take over. And I really felt like I was to the point of like food addict. At some point, I stopped caring about what I was eating and just was eating. And, there's a lot of things that could be said as to why I went down that road, but I just did. And I did it for years. I was at the point where every Monday morning I was starting a diet. And every Monday evening I was off that diet. And I hated pictures of myself and I avoided pictures. And I was very physically unhappy with where I was, just from a physical look standpoint, but also everything hurt. And I know now that it was just chronic inflammation all in my body, but it causes a lot of pain. And so I was uncomfortable and all of that. So I had reached a point where I was just, one night, I was just like, I was over spending all the time disliking myself. I was just exhausted from mentally worried about my weight, how I looked, and how I felt. And I had really just said to myself, I remember I just like laid collapsed on my bed and I was just like, I'm done. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm either going to do something about this or I am just going to accept that this is where I am because I'm just tired of trying to figure it out. And that's really what I saw. You had posted something about a client win or something. And I said, well, this is like it. It's my last ditch effort. And so I reached out to you and that was really it. I reached out to you. I pretty much told you I thought I was addicted to sugar. I didn't think I could be helped. And I thought I was a hopeless case.
Yep.
And you luckily responded after that introduction. And there we go. I think it took us a week or two to maybe connect. And then I've been working with you ever since.
Yeah, and it's been quite a journey. And I remember on that first call, you were so adamant about like, I don't know if I can do this. This is like, I've tried for so long. And so first and foremost, like I doubled the commitment that you needed to make in terms of time working together. And then I also, because I was just like, I like, if I can't help you, I can't help you. I said, if after the first month it's not working, like let's just cancel it, just go separate
Yeah.
ways.
Hmm.
But literally from day one, I think even before our first call, you just tapped into the system and you started using it. And then ever since, it's just been small improvements over time, continuously being hungry for what you want, like hitting the workouts, hitting the fasts, eating correctly or more nutritiously. And it's been great. It's been really great to see. So tell me a little bit about your evolution these past few months and just how it's been for you using this system specifically.
Well, I started off with knowing after our initial call that fasting was part of it. And I kind of, I had had another coach at a gym suggest intermittent fasting to me before. And I literally looked at him like he had four heads. And I was like, I could never do that. And after talking to you, I was like, again, this was my last effort. So I was either going to succeed or fail. So I think before our first real kickoff call, I did like a 15-hour fast just to see if I could do it. And I was just amazed that I did it. And I don't know if that just started the spark or what, but luckily I made the commitment to work with you. That's then taking, resources allocated for other things in our family, to myself. And I wasn't going to blow that. I wasn't going to take advantage of that, or I wasn't going to squander it either. So I kind of went all in pretty quickly. But I think that was a big part of it, was just making the investment in myself. And mentally, I needed to do that to push me to then try fasting, which I did. And honestly, I was so happy that I could do a few hours that I was just quickly learning that I'm not as hopeless as I thought I was. And then I immediately, pretty quickly cleaned up my eating. So I had sent you a list on my first thing of everything I ate, because we eat out a lot. We're an eat out family. And like, I'm mortified at that list now if I were to go back and look at it. But I sent you all of that. But that was a very great exercise to do, because I never put it on paper before and then had to look back at it. And then I had to hear what you thought about it. And so it was really just opening up about everything that I think made me realize that, okay, these are changes that you need to make at this point. Like, you have limited time on this earth, and you can either keep feeling the way you're going, or you can make a change. And so I started with the fasting. I cleaned up my eating, and I was already going to the gym, but it was more of like a classes, and it was strength training. But again, I was just checking a box. I wasn't being as deliberate as I could be. So once you and I started working out together, or when I started following your workouts, I realized I needed to be more intentional. Like, going to the gym is great and spending the time there is great, but you're leaving so much behind when you're not intentional about it. And I really took to that philosophy pretty quickly.
Yeah. So when I think about the past 9 months, like there's three major things that I think stand out. And you've obviously done so much more and had so many amazing accomplishments. But number one, you're down 50 pounds. So that's a huge, huge milestone, which is amazing. Number two, fasting, which we'll talk about in a moment. You hit a 5-day fast, and you've been crushing a lot of other ones, multiple 72s, and then pretty much every single week, a 24, 36, and then a pull-up, which is also an amazing accomplishment.
Right.
So is it the intentionality, would you say, that you brought to the gym that allowed you to get that pull-up?
I think it's all, to me, it all just kind of all goes together. It's all the acceptance of just wanting better for myself, but also understanding that it's okay to want that for myself. I went through a definite period of, this seems so selfish, it seems so self-focused, but I feel like now I feel so much better. I literally, this process, I feel like has reverse aged me in just the fact I feel so much better. I had plantar fasciitis for years. I've had hip pain for years. I actually had restless leg syndrome for years. I've had that sensation you get where you have the bottom of your feet tingle, and that was every night. But what I've learned is all of that is inflammation driven mostly. It's, definitely pre-diabetic, or maybe even into diabetes. It's definitely insulin resistance. And I knew I was headed in that direction. So now that I feel so much better, I just feel like I can do anything. I've like proven to myself that I've never thought I could do a chin up, and now I'm doing them, and now I just want to get better at them, and I want to be really good at them. I'm building muscle and I look different than I've ever looked before. And sometimes I wish I'd have done it sooner, but I didn't. And this is where I am. But I never would have thought, if you would have told me 9 months ago that I could look like I look now, I don't even think I would have believed it.
Yeah. In terms of the fasting, well, let's just talk about your whole experience with fasting, because you said like the thought of it at the very beginning was like, no way. So how has that evolved since, and how has it been helpful for you, and just what's been your general experience with it?
I think because I thought I was totally addicted to food, I just never would have guessed I could do it. But when I started proving to myself that I could, even if it was just going 15 hours without eating or 18 hours without eating, I started to accept the fact, okay, maybe you're not addicted to food. And I don't think I ever spent a week where I lost like a lot of weight. I'm always like somewhere between half a pound and 2 pounds or something along those lines. So even though I wasn't getting like the immediate gratification out of losing weight, other than a couple pounds here and there, I found the benefits of fasting to be, I was so much more productive. I was so happy that I wasn't letting food control me. Like I feel proud that I can fast for 24 to 48 hours and that I can not eat food. I'm deciding when I eat rather than letting food dictate when I eat. I just feel so much more in control of my health. And I think that coming with fasting, it made me realize also that everything I had become that I didn't like was a product of my own decisions. That's a hard pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, you can't deny it. It's like you're responsible. And so learning that I wasn't an addict, I was probably using that as an excuse to not change my lifestyle. All of these are things I've learned, but I think I've learned a lot of them during fasting because it really does provide some clarity for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been really cool. And I mean, we've had multiple conversations on the importance of radical responsibility, of just
Yes.
no excuses. Like if you are giving a reason for why you haven't accomplished something or why something didn't go the way it should have, or and it's anything other than you, it's probably the wrong answer. So like taking that responsibility allows you to do what you've done, to take a look at, no, like I have all these obstacles and roadblocks, and you've once again, like you've gone on vacation while we've been working together, you've gone to events, you've gone out to eat almost if not every single weekend with
Yeah.
your husband, and just like
Yeah.
being able to continue on that path and still see results, rather than like the typical diet of I can't go out to eat, I can't eat this, I can't.
Right.
I do want to talk about the mental evolution that you've had in terms of the number on the scale, because I know a lot of people do struggle with that, of because like the number is the number, but it's you go through the week, you've had a great week, and then you step on the scale and maybe you're expecting to lose more and you don't lose as much, because like you said, like yours was very, very slow and steady. Talk a little bit about how you felt at the beginning and then what helped you evolve into more of where your head is at now.
So in the beginning, of course, I felt, going from thinking I was a food addict to basically eating whenever, whatever I wanted to incorporating fasting. And in addition to that, still working out, but also cleaning up when I did eat. Like I was eating much healthier. I have not, since I started working out with you, I haven't had pizza. I haven't had fast food. Like I have cleaned up a lot. I don't eat fried food. I eat vegetables, basically good protein and fruit. And I'm happy to do so. And I've eliminated a lot of sugar. I won't say it's completely gone, but I've eliminated a lot of that. So I took all those steps. So in the beginning, I felt like, I at least had a 5 pound week. And then I get on the scale and it's like, a pound, maybe a pound and a half. So we talked about that. We would talk when we would have our coaching sessions. And then the next week would be, you kind of kept me positive or trying to get me through it, because I definitely struggled with it. I would say probably the first at least maybe 6 to 8 weeks, I was very frustrated with just how slow it was. And I mean, if I think back, I could probably still be frustrated about it, but you would always say to me, why does the number matter? And why does time matter? And I feel like just recently, I finally got the time message, meaning I'm down 50 pounds in 9 months. It doesn't really matter that week 1 and 2 and through 10 was a pound and a pound and a pound. I'm here now. And I could have spent that 9 months either staying the course I was before I reached out to you, or here I am 50 pounds lighter. So the time thing, I can understand when people want to have like immediate gratification and lose 4 pounds or 5 pounds in a week. But for whatever reason, it just didn't happen that way for me. I feel like my body was doing a lot of repairing. I think I had done a lot of damage. I don't claim to know what all was happening, but I just stayed the course and I trusted you. I trusted the program and I didn't give up. I think it's interesting because I still care very much about what the number on the scale says, but it's I've just accepted that for whatever reason, it's a 1 or 2 pounds for me. And, that's the way it's been for the last 9 months. So I kind of don't expect it to be any different, but it's still 1 or 2 pounds and it's still led me to feel better and it's led me to be stronger and healthier.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a race to the finish line, because when you get there, you still have to do what you're doing anyway. So why not
Right.
just focus more on like enjoying what you're doing, which you've done a great job of doing. Like, you've thrown yourself into your gym routine with a lot of intention, a lot of enjoyment. You've set goals in there that excite you. And like you really have been super coachable, which is an amazing, amazing quality of yours. And just having the ability to be able to like take a plan and use it and communicate how you're feeling throughout it. And then so we're able to work things through and then adjust and just stay the course. The sprinkler story,
Oh gosh.
I just want you to share it just because it was great.
So I think it was Thanksgiving. So I had roughly lost around 50 pounds, but all my kids were home. And so we had 4 cars in the carport and I always leave first because I go work out very early in the morning at the gym. And we hadn't shuffled the cars just right. So long story short, the sprinklers were on at 5 o'clock in the morning, but my car's usually not parked next to on the side of the yard. So anyway, the sprinkler was shooting right into my driver's side. It's happened before when the girls were home, but in the past, I would have just gone back in the house. I would have got some towels and figured out how I'm going to get in my car and just deal with being somewhat damp or something. But this time I was just like, I'm just going to go in the passenger side and climb over. And I did. And I just know that 50 pounds ago, that wouldn't have been a possibility, but it was small and silly. But I think it's a testament of kind of where I am with my body and what I'm now capable of doing.
Yes. What do you think has been the
That
most?
seems like a very silly story.
I love it because it really is about the small little differences that you notice that can excite you. Because if you're just doing the fasting, the eating, and the working out, and like you're stepping on the scale and the numbers changing, but nothing in your external world is really changing. It's that matters. It's the compliments that matter. It's the small differences you notice. And it's kind of like a video game of like you're leveling up and you have new abilities. You can do new things
Yeah.
without pain, or just like you have more to do, more to accomplish.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, and I don't think I've ever asked you this question, but throughout these 9 months, what do you think has been the most helpful for you to get you to where you are today?
I could say so many things because it's all been just such a journey in all of itself. But honestly, I would have to say the accountability piece in hiring a coach. And first of all, admitting to myself that I need to take responsibility for this. And then also really admitting that you need help. And that's not really something I'm very independent. I'm very responsible. I want to be the best at whatever I do. So I throw myself into it. And I often refuse help. Like I got it, and I needed help. So I think reaching out for help and then the accountability piece has just been really a game changer. And although I invested in myself, I really do feel like, you care, you have invested back in me, and I don't want to fail. I don't want to disappoint. And I want to do what I say I do. And as you know, I started this journey, like it was really just me and you. Like I haven't really talked to many people outside in my circle about what I've done. Now I will because I've lost 50 pounds. So people will certainly ask me. I just kind of kept it to myself for a while and developed some skills I think I needed. But at the end of the day, I think it's making the investment and realizing that it's okay. It's not selfish. And then just having an accountability, someone that cares if I'm successful or not. And so I think that's the part I'm not willing to give up. In the go forward, like I see the value in having a coach. I see the value in asking for help, and I don't feel bad about it anymore.
What's been your favorite part of the last 9 months?
Well, of late, it's been shopping.
Yeah.
No, I've had to really buy a whole new wardrobe, which, has been nice. I had certainly have spent the last 5-10 years avoiding shopping, trying not to shop, never go in a dressing room, never publicly like change clothes or anything like that. So that's been nice to feel, not to have to go buy something and be disappointed that it's a size 14 or 12. And every time you do that, you feel bad about it if that's not where you want to be. And that's what I was having to experience. So that's been great. But I also feel like I just think the best part about the whole thing is that I have realized that I think I just lost myself. I really just feel like I have found myself. I wasn't never not the person that I am right now. I just either forgot her or buried her. And I think reaching out to you is really what's helped me realize I am a fighter and I am capable of more than I let myself think for a long time.
You absolutely are. I know you know this. We've had this conversation many times. It's been very amazing to see. And I'm very proud of where you're at. If there was one thing that you could share with someone, like just last words or something that would help, what would that be?
I think that at the end of the day, the investing in your health and taking control of it is the greatest gift you can not only give to yourself, but to everybody in your family. It allows you to be the person that to just feel good again and to be happy with how I look is such a mental shift of positivity that there's no way it can't overflow to other people or just in life in general. So I struggled with that for a while, but I think that at the end of the day, the greatest thing I've learned is that I made an investment myself and I care about the investment. I take very good care of it. I do the diet, I do the fasting, I go to the gym. I don't squander it. I don't waste time or I don't waste effort. And so for me, I think if I were to just tell someone the best thing they can do is, if you need help, get help and reach out to somebody, a coach, to you, and really learn that in 9 months, I am better than I have ever been in my life. And it took 9 months. It took me 15 years to get to a breaking point. It took me 9 months to feel this good again.
Yeah, great answer. Last thing I am curious about is at a scale of 1 to 10, how sustainable do you feel like this is for you? I mean, I know the answer. I know you, like, this is the new you, but like, is this really something that you believe is going to be continued for the rest of your life?
I feel like this is the only time you're ever going to get a 10 out of me.
Oh, okay. Let me write that.
You know how I feel about 10s.
Yep.
I always feel like there's room to improve, but as far as this program and where I'm at with all the things that you've taught me, I said to myself the other day as I was driving home, I just realized that I will never say to myself again, I need to go on a diet. Like those are 7 words that I will never say again because I feel like this is how I live now. The benefits are too great. The way I feel about myself is too great to ever go back or to ever give it up. But I feel very in control. I feel it's just been a life changer, and I refuse to go back. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, and I see that in you. Like it's very clear. Like this is you're always hungry to learn more and to know more. You're always hungry to push more, get stronger in the gym, set personal records. Like it just feels like the new you. So I'm proud of you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time and just thank you for investing in yourself and committing to yourself for the past couple months.
All right, so clearly Miss Amy not only has had an amazing transformation, but she is an incredible inspiration. She is the perfect example of the underdog story of taking a situation that might as well be considered hopeless and turning it into the best thing that she possibly could. And so out of all the amazing information Amy shared, the one thing that I really want to emphasize is that number 1, she took action for herself, but number 2, she committed to the process. No matter where you're at in your fat loss journey, you may have tried 1 time to lose weight, you may have tried 100 times to lose weight, and if you're anywhere near this idea that you are a lost cause or that you can't be helped, I encourage you to check the link in the description of this video. Not only are you going to learn a little bit about our system in that training, but you're also going to have the opportunity to book a call. On that call, we'll talk a little bit about your situation, what you're looking to accomplish, and if our strategy can be an effective tool to help get you there. But with that being said, I'd love if you could leave Amy some encouragement in the comments for her amazing transformation so far. I'd love if you could subscribe to the channel so you can tune in each week as we put out new videos. And of course, as always, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.